I know we build it as the Ronaldo podcast, so we've probably got to offer something different to our bonus clip this week. Ferran Torres obviously was at the game against Arsenal. He was clinical that game. It didn't take much to score against that Arsenal defence, but he just looked good in the positions he was taking up. And obviously, Pep comparing him to Jamie Vardy after the game only warmed to him more. And he's probably the sole reason that I'm a bit gutted playing my wild card and kind of price myself out of him with the 2 premium forwards and Salah. But it's two tough tests to come after Leicester Southampton. I think if you're gonna want to bring him in now. Is probably my suggestion, because if you don't bring him in and those 2 fixtures pass you by, they've got 2 tough fixtures with Liverpool and Chelsea to follow, which it will be tough for him to get a goal or 2 in them. So I think if you like what you saw, like myself, and you do want him, then probably act now. If you don't act now, then probably wait until Liverpool and Chelsea games, but you might be losing out on a few goals.
Yeah, I think the other thing to say why to act now is that once De Bruyne and Foden come back from injury, there's a bit more competition for that false 9 then, isn't there?
Yeah, and obviously you got Sterling coming. He's not going to be happy about sitting on the bench. So you're probably right there. He's probably made the shirt his own for the next 2 games at least, and those next 2 games are fantastic for City. So yeah, that's the reason that he's probably my snog this week.
I do think it's a bit rogue that you wildcarded last week to give yourself the option of having Ronaldo this week, and this is the Ronaldo special. And then you've done a big tease. You're not even stalking Ronaldo. Ronaldo was on tenterhooks waiting to be your snog this week.
We've talked about him all podcast. I thought I'd offer something different.
I think you just didn't want to have your 2 snogs being Mason Greenwood from the other week and then Ronaldo this week. You just couldn't. I think it was just making you vomit, wasn't it?
Yeah, people started questioning my allegiances lie. Mari, I think it's 3rd game week in a row, but when I looked at my team, I'm going to wait for you to break it next week. And I'm a loyal man, me, Mindy, so I'll wait for you to break the marriage. Obviously another stunning performance last weekend. Probably should have kept him in the end. I kind of got swayed by Kane, but yeah, just an absolute monster in terms of FPL. Not a monster. I can't. It's kind of a bit unfair, but in terms of FPL, he's an absolute machine, isn't he? At the start of the season, and he's probably the one who's kind of when I was building my wild card, probably him and Trent. Trent's probably not got the points to justify it yet, but yeah, Antonio probably a big one for me to keep.
Yeah, the way he just drilled that goal in at the weekend, it was just you could just tell it's like a man in such a vein of form.
I mean, I've obviously played my wild card recently, so there's not too many players. Well, there's no players that probably avoided my team. My only concern with Ben Rama is that I could potentially have missed his points, because obviously I bigged him up before the preview podcast. And I didn't bring him in for the first 2 games. Then obviously he didn't score at the weekend, so that's my only concern with Ben Rama, that I missed the boat there. But we'll see.
You run about ditching Barnes at the dinner table to go and neck him in the nightclub next door a couple of weeks ago. So you talk about being a loyal man. You're quite fickle for a loyal man.
Yeah, I mean, I've only just warmed to now. Obviously I played my wild card, so I'm happy with most of my team. That just coming into my head. My concern was that I've obviously bigged him up, not brought him in. Brought him in 3rd game week when Crystal Palace. I thought that was a great fixture for him. You said he took up some great positions, but that's probably my own concern.
I think the other thing is, now that with all these attacking options we've just talked about, keeping two in from West Ham comes harder to justify, and there's all these other players popping off, and you want to have captains from other teams, etc. So yeah, fair play. I think it's this is probably the unluckiest avoid so far. I think this one beats me having Shaw last week for
it's just tricky because I've just played my wildcard. So like I said, there's no one that I did really want in my team. It's like you say, the 2 West Ham players, if once Europa starts to hit, then the form might start to dip a bit. I'm just really swayed by the baby of Adama Traore, and if he scores against Watford, that's going to be a bandwagon and a half, isn't it? When you combine the stats and a goal. So yeah, it's whether I get in ahead of the curve.